Hello, everybody. This is Martha Hines with Living the One Light. Okay. In this video, I am feeling really called and energized to speak to some themes that are particularly alive at this moment in me, that have been coming up in some conversations I've been having with you, specifically this morning, some of you. And that is absolutely relevant to this moment astrologically, and yet is also universal. So if you happen to be seeing this video anytime, I'm going to guess it would be relevant for any moment. But it is particularly alive right now as we are on this moment. This day is Friday, October 6th, 2023. And we're heading into eclipse season. So a week from tomorrow is the first of two eclipses, really powerful eclipses. And the theme that I'm feeling called to talk about in this video in particular is certainly related to these eclipses, but is on kind of a more meta level idea or concept or reality, which is this reality that's just becoming more and more clear to me of the cosmos as a medicinal being. And this weaves in so many other things that I've been talking about, that I've been feeling, that I've been experiencing personally, that I see collectively. But it feels like it's important to highlight this, partly because it just, first of all, it feels good. It feels good to me. It's, just on a really simple, basic level, like, okay, so this morning I have a monthly membership, and I held a monthly gathering with some of my members, some of you, and what we do on those monthly Infinite Soul Wisdom gatherings is people check in, and then I talk about the astrology, and then I channel something, that whatever wants to come through from the spirit world. So we did that this morning, and not surprisingly, I'm speaking for myself here, there's, in the astrology right now, we have Mars just crossed the south node of the moon. And I think on Sunday, 2 days from now, it will be exactly squaring Pluto, and Pluto is squaring the nodes of the moon. Okay, so translation, that brings a huge amount of potential for difficulty, argumentation, like power struggles. Like that's, any astrologer would look at that and think, or potentially say, wow, yeah, there could be a lot coming up that could feel very difficult. And that's not true. I mean, absolutely, I fully agree with that perspective. That's there. And I've felt it in myself in certain ways, right? And then when I go into my praying, and for example, when I went into the channeled part today, what comes through is not that that's not true, but that then I get shown, and a lot of you were able to chime in, this morning, or you've emailed me and chimed in various ways about similar things, is that what I get shown more and more and more clearly is, of course, that the cosmos, all of existence, is an energetic being. Everything is energy, everything is vibration, everything is light, etc. So even just on a physiological level, everything in the cosmos has gravity, mass, and magnetic relationship to everything else. So like every star has a certain kind of relationship to every other star. Our sun has a gravitational relationship with the Earth, with every planet, anything that's rotating around it, and then the sun and our whole solar system is in this relationship with, in various ways with everything else. Okay, so that's just a fact of physics. And then to take this to another level, another part of the reality of that is that then everything in the cosmos is in the radically perfect balance and alignment of source, of itself, of the divine, of life, of existence. And it's really, it's kind of an anomaly that on Earth we are out of balance with that natural radical balance and harmony of existence. So this actually pertains so perfectly to the eclipse gathering, the two-part eclipse gathering that Chris Skidmore and I are going to be holding on each of the days of the two eclipses coming up. So October 14th, 2023, or 15th, depending on where you are in the world, and October 28th, 29th, depending on where you are in the world. And I'll get to this in a second, why we structured that two-part gathering the way we did. It's precisely relevant to the way in which the cosmos actually is structured and the opportunity for us to be held, like if you want to call it a medicinal way, in the cosmos. So again, on a really basic level, we could look at the configuration of what's going on astrologically and get really freaked out. Mars on the south node of the moon squaring Pluto, Pluto squaring the nodes. That's a potentially kind of combustible energy. Okay. Yes. And at the same time, what I keep getting shown is the eclipses actually also are, on an energetic level, an opportunity for us to be held just like in a craniosacral session. So Chris Skidmore and I both are craniosacral therapists. We both are body workers, psychotherapists, and astrologers. So we have this really both of us have that really interesting combination of things that we happen to do, or the background that we have. I'm not currently practicing, anyway, mostly practicing the astrology part and the energy work part, but I, for many, many years, was a psychotherapist, and for many, many years was a body worker also. Okay, so we have both of those, we both have all of those skills there, and that's how we see life. And so when yesterday he and I met, and we were feeling into these eclipses, and we were feeling into what are we being called to do on in these workshops? How are we being called to really truly hold them? Well, we both feel called to hold them on the 2 days of the eclipses. Not as a either or, but it's a both and. So it's what we both feel in it is that the eclipse time is this opportunity essentially to be held by the arms of the cosmos in one sense, but it's like the eclipses, the nodes of the moon on these eclipses are, well, the energetic of the whole eclipse is holding us, like on one end on our occiput, and then the other end on our sacrum, just like you might be getting held in an energy work session or a craniosacral session. Because in any eclipse season, when there are these two eclipses, I mean, there's always at least two eclipses, sometimes three, but in this case, there's two. one of the eclipses is happening with the moon on one node, one end of the polarity of the nodes, and then the other eclipse happens on the other end of the nodes. So for example, in this set of eclipses, on the first one is October 14th, and it's a new moon eclipse with the new moon on the south node of the moon. Okay, then 2 weeks later, there's a full moon lunar eclipse happening with the moon on the north node of the moon. The sun will still be on the south node, but the moon will now have gone off, halfway around the zodiac and a little more. And now the full moon will be on the north node of the moon. Okay. So do you see this feeling of how the nodes are holding the whole polarity the whole time, and the sun keeps a steady presence on the south node, but then the moon travels halfway to the other node and now is holding with the north node in concert with the sun on the south node, the other end of that eclipse. And on these particular eclipses, Pluto happens to be squaring the nodes of the moon. So there's something, especially potent and alive, I think, with Pluto there squaring the nodes of the moon. It's like it gives it a fulcrum energetically to be held like this. And Pluto has to do with transformation. It has to do with letting go, right? So in this particular eclipse season, when we think of the cosmos as medicine, as a medicinal being, that's always true. And as we drop into the energetic of what's particularly alive in this moment astrologically, wow. It's like the nodes of the moon with the sun and the moon, and then Pluto creating like a fulcrum to hold the whole thing up. It's like becomes like a bed, right? We can lie on. So our head on one end and our feet on the other end. And Pluto holding us up to help us transform, to help us really just relax into that healing space, to help us let go completely, become that new butterfly that we're becoming. Pluto squaring the nodes of the moon for, pretty much this whole year is the caterpillar going into the chrysalis, dissolving into the goop, becoming the butterfly. So we're in the middle of that whole transition experience, and the eclipses are like being held. There's this opportunity to be held like this, to do an extra layer of, really rapid transformation. So it's so beautiful. And it, at least in my own body, I'll speak for myself, you see how you feel, but I personally feel so much better, thinking of this time as a healing space that I can just relax back into and let the cosmos do its magic with me, in concert with me, in concert with you, in concert with each of us individually and collectively, and all of it, as opposed to being worried, scared of the other, whatever. Many things we could always be worried about. Yeah. And so, I think there's, in any moment, there are examples of, concrete examples of the cosmos as a medicinal being, but this is so alive right now. So alive. So I felt really called to describe that, and then to explain a little bit more about what Chris and I are being called to do in these workshops. so, you know, we made a video a few weeks ago, kind of feeling into the workshops, but we hadn't fully clicked with it yet. And then last night when we spoke, we really, it was like, boom, right there, exactly what we're meant to do. And it just became very alive in us. And tomorrow, actually, we will be having a conversation with Melanie Reinhardt. We'll be doing a video, the three of us. So we might touch on this a little bit in that video, but I don't think we'll have time to, you know, really dive into it and really explain it. So that's why I'm making this extra video also to answer some questions about the workshop itself. But definitely listen into that video that we'll be making tomorrow, because I already am sure it's going to be amazing. So, of course, Melanie and Chris, can't go wrong. Yeah, really excited about that. So, okay. So like I said, we're going to be holding these workshops on both days of the actual eclipse. If you are in the Americas, it will be held on October 14th and October 28th, Saturday, both times. In the evening for people in the Americas. For those of you in Australia, it's going to be a very Australia-friendly time because Chris is in Australia and Bali, depending on the moment. So, so for those of you in the Perth time zone, well, actually, well, in Australia, in Bali, in that whole area of the world, it will be morning your time. And yeah, so we're holding this on those two eclipse days, the 14th, 15th, and the 28th, 29th, again, depending where you're in the world. So we're holding it 2 times, but not in the sense of, you know, come to either this one or that one. No, the point is that it's like the whole set of both times that we'll be together will be as though we are holding you in a healing container of the whole eclipse portal, right? So the idea is that we will meet first on that 14th/15th time. We're going to drop into ourselves, our bodies will drop into the energetic of the cosmos in that moment, because it will be the moment of the eclipse. I mean, it'll not to like the exact minute, but it'll be the day of the actual first eclipse, the new moon eclipse in Libra. So we'll drop into what is alive in the energetic of that eclipse on that day. This will all be recorded, so you don't have to be there live. We would love to have you there, but anyway, you can have just the recording if you want. And then once we drop into that, we're going to drop into finding our own inner feminine and inner masculine. And because so many of the themes alive on this particular set of eclipses, you know, it's the Libra Aries axis is what the nodes are in. So with Pluto squaring the nodes. So the whole notion of inner feminine, inner masculine relationship, how do we relate to each other? How do we love? How do we love? That's big topic, big question. What kind of when we, you know, and so so we'll drop into then our own inner feminine, inner masculine. We'll feel into what's alive there. What kind of love is there? What kind of hurt might be there? What kind of scar tissue might be there? Like just energetically, what is ready to release? What can, if you're imagining being in a healing space, you know, being held in an energy healing session, right? And you're particularly holding space for your own inner feminine, your own inner masculine. Your body has innate wisdom. Your being has innate wisdom, just like with anything else, of what is ready to let go. What is ready to really transform? So again, Pluto squaring the nodes. It's so beautiful, actually. Pluto being there, being here, ready to hold us, ready to give us that transformative experience, be a medicine for us, really. And to be in this co-creative relationship, this dance with us energetically. Yeah, so we'll come into, that inner feminine, inner masculine, and just noticing, like not judging, just noticing what's alive there. Again, what kind of ease is there? What kind of discomfort is there? Just noticing. And then Chris is going to take us on a beautiful journey with some mythology, just, essentially to soothe our nervous system, to soothe those parts of ourselves that maybe are ready to let go, maybe are ready to move with this whole way of being with the inner feminine, inner masculine in a completely different way, move with relationship in a completely different way, inside of ourselves, outside of ourselves, and just relax completely into being whole inside of ourselves, right? In whatever way is just right for you in that moment. And then there'll be, that's kind of the gist of what the first time will be. And then we'll come into more of a grounding way. Anyway, there'll be more than that, but you get the idea that it's the whole point of that day one, but then also the 2 weeks later, the whole holding container is really about being a healing space to be held so that our innate healing abilities, our innate healing wisdom in ourselves can do its thing, can do its magic. And this is something obviously you can do on your own, even if you don't feel called to be part of this workshop. I have a true wish and hope that in general, for you, for our world, for all of it, that this time, I'm actually feeling on the verge of crying. When I say this, I realize how much this actually means to me. I hadn't thought about it like this before. Yeah, we have, this is something that dawned on me actually when I was talking to Chris last night and afterward, when I was on a walk and just kind of letting our conversation move through me. We have a heck of a lot of scar tissue, for lack of a better way to put it, energetic scar tissue, trauma with regard to what? The feminine, the masculine relationship, violence, all of the above, right? And not violence, I mean maybe in relationship, but I just mean in the world. And so there's so much in our energetic systems that need to be held, that need space to come back into balance, come back into a healing. It needs the healing. It needs the opportunity for healing. And yeah, so certainly if you feel called to be part of this workshop, that is the entire point of the workshop, is to be a space for that healing to occur in ourselves and in our world. And even if you don't feel called to be part of the workshop, I have this really strong hope and prayer that that this eclipse time can be that opportunity for you and for our world in, again, whatever way is exactly right for you. Yeah. Yeah, I just feel it so strongly. yeah, this is a moment when we really can come back to wholeness. That we've lived so many eons. Again, speaking for myself, but I think it's true for probably most of us. We've lived eons on this planet in trauma, in mega trauma, specifically, in patriarchy, the the violence of patriarchy has been incredibly traumatizing for people of all genders, any and all genders, all of the above. I mean, I've just been watching a movie actually. What is it? The Pacific? Have any of you seen it? It's on Netflix. And I don't totally know why I'm subjecting myself to it, because it's very violent. But there's something in it that there's a reason I'm watching it anyway. But it's about World War II and about the experiences of some of the US soldiers in the South Pacific. And so it shows a lot of very graphic war experiences. And well, the main thing that comes up in me is sorrow, grief at all of the trauma on all sides, all of the above, and that trauma really has not been processed in our world. Actually, Heather Ensworth made a phenomenal video recently. I heard she talks about the I'll link the video. Actually, I'll link that video to this video, because she gives a meta view of a lot of these similar themes. Not the cosmos as medicine part, but this whole violence and all of that, which I won't go into a long thing on right this minute. But I love that video that Heather just put out. Yeah, she talks about her sense of 2023 to 2028. Definitely recommend that video, but I'll link the video with this. Okay. And I think the very last thing I'm feeling called to say in this video, that's also related and interesting, I'm getting told to say this in a particular way that, again, is bringing up like emotion for me. So related to this whole sense of the cosmos as medicine is also something that's so dear and important to me in all the work I do, in all the circles I hold, in all of the one-on-one sessions I have with you, with people, is the remembering of each of us as these divine, wise beings. So, I mean, the thing that's coming up that I'm feeling actually emotional about is I'm recognizing in me the sense of part of the violence of patriarchy has actually been a violation of the knowing of our own inner wisdom, right? So, I mean, I won't go on and on and on about that. I think a lot of people just kind of get that intuitively, but just to say a little more about it, it's part of what's gone on is that we have, in lots of ways, suppressed our own knowing of truth and our own knowing of our own inner body knowing and our own soul way of knowing. So that plays out in all kinds of ways. But one of the biggest things that I see that I feel so sad about is people, I'd say 90 something percent of people doubting their own value and the reality of themselves as a beautiful, perfect, needed, wise being of the divine. We lost that somehow, right? And I would say it's part of the whole energy of violence that has been going on this planet. is in lots and lots and lots and lots and lots of ways, for people of all genders, that confidence in our own inner knowing and our ability to connect with that inner knowing has been pretty decimated. So again, a huge component, humongous component of what is important to me in all of the work I do is to hold space for us to come back into that inner sense of wholeness, that inner sense of knowing, and hold space for us each to be able to connect with and then bring through our own unique ways of knowing, our own unique wisdom that's meant to come through us. So for example, this morning at the Infinite Soul Wisdom Gathering, it was like such a perfect example of this. I mean, I love it every time. And part of why I love it is because I love being with those of you who come, because yeah, I'm not here to be a talking head. I'm not here to be a guru. I'm here to hold space, and maybe to have a certain kind of wisdom that's meant to come through me, but really I'm here to hold space for each of us to connect with and then bring through all of our wisdom, whatever it happens to be, whoever you happen to be, right? And it's going to be different from mine, and it's going to be different from each other's. And so that's part of what happened this morning that was just so wonderful and heartwarming for me, is that yeah, it was like puzzle pieces were chiming in, and then as more puzzle pieces come in, it's easier to come to a fuller sense of what's wanting to be expressed and wanting to come through. Yeah, just so many other reasons I love it, but that's just one example, right? And so it's key to, again, every group I hold, every session I have one-on-one with people, and absolutely humongous when it comes to the Infinite Soul Wisdom Astrology 101 course I'm holding next year, which you already can sign up for if you haven't already. So many of you already have, but you know, I've made a whole video on that, so I won't say a ton about it right now, but I just want to emphasize yet again, the point of that container is really about coming into each of our own divine wisdom, our own way of knowing, and our own remembering of the cosmos as medicine, among other things. The cosmos as medicine, the cosmos as a medicinal energetic being, the cosmos as life itself, the cosmos as alive. Like, yeah, I mean, so many key rememberings. It's called, the spirit world calls this whole course coming up a portal of remembering. And it's like this overarching big container to ground in, to find each of our own centers, and to help bring back through this way of being, this way of knowing, with astrology, but with actually just with life. Yeah, who we are, what we're meant to be knowing, and how we're meant to be, you know, coming back into oneness in ourselves and with each other, with the world, all of the above. Okay, yeah, and that's part of what the medicine of these eclipses is all about. So yeah, okay, long-winded, multi-layered explanation of many things, but all kind of related to the same topic. So beautiful. Yeah, I hope that this, again, my prayer is, I hope and pray this whole eclipse time is medicinal, is healing for you. If you feel called to be part of those workshops with me and Chris, you're very welcome to be there live for both. I mean, that would be the ideal, because I think you get the most out of it that way, but you're also welcome to, you know, come to one, not come to the other, or just have the recordings for anyway. In any way you do it, if you sign up, you will get the recordings for both. And you can listen to them anytime on your own, obviously. Yeah, if you have any questions, please be in touch. livingtheonelight@gmail.com. We've made the workshop really accessible financially, I think. So the full price is $55. We have an early bird special until the 10th, Wednesday, which is $45. And for those of you in the membership or the Goddess series, you get a 20% discount, which brings it if you do the early bird, it's $36. And for those of you who are already signed up for the Astrology 101 course, you get a 25% discount, which brings it to like $32.75. Less than $33, something like that, if you do the early bird special. So hopefully accessible. If you feel called to be there, we really want you to be able to be there. Yeah. See you soon. And definitely listen into the interview that I'll be doing tomorrow with Chris and Melanie Reinhardt. Guaranteed, as much as I can guarantee anything, that it'll be amazing, because they're amazing. Yeah. Wonderful. See you all. Oh, and I have lots of other really, really amazing interviews coming up. So if you haven't subscribed yet to this channel, I would love for you to subscribe. And yeah, it's like another 6 interviews coming in the next 5 weeks or something like that. It's a lot of really wonderful stuff. Okay. See you soon. Beautiful eclipse time, medicinal eclipse time for you. Blessings. See you soon.